As many of you know, I had recently relooked at one of the people surrounding the FCK situation, in the form of Toasty Vanilla. Well, Toasty wasn't the only person who had still had a public platform. But thankfully this person was a lot more easier to find, and that was Miss ZZ. Probably one of the people with the most vile accusations against them. Well, I had a stab in the dark, and messaged them a few months back asking if they'd be open to do an interview. And a few weeks ago, I got a response, and they were willing to answer some questions. Here is that interview. First question, did you ever feel as if you were lying to yourself when you allowed the events of FCK to occur? What I mean by this is, given the community you surrounded yourself in, and how critical said community is about these things, did you know what you did was horrible at the time, and it was a case of hypocrisy?
You are using extremely presumptuous and accusatory language with these questions. I'm not sure what information this intends to clarify by asking, am I lying to myself? Or, and it was a case of hypocrisy. I did not let anything transpire. I did not have the administrative power Toasty, Madlibs and Nezzymonster had. You are asking me to speak on behalf of a dead community I've never considered myself a part of, but was lumped in with by proxy, while at the same time labeling me a hypocrite and insinuating that I somehow lied to myself, or that I somehow believe that I did no wrong. If you want me to speak about those events, then I'm going to speak about what I did incorrectly, or any of the positions I was in at the time. The only thing I can answer in your question is, did I think what I did was bad at the time? And my answer is no, because I had no ill intention, nor did I even conceive of attempting any sort of harm.
My apologies if my question comes off as accusatory. I am just trying to gather an understanding of your headspace at the time of when things transpired is all. When I say letting things transpire, I'm simply referring to any sort of position of power within the group or space, but was in terms of you not speaking out about it to the community, given your platform, even if it led to you getting some heat. However, given your answer, it makes that point void. So I will move on to the next question. Given you were all aware of Akumu's age, why did you feel yourself it was appropriate to post sexually inappropriate comments on his videos, such as these?
In the current period, within the group and within my own headspace, Akumu was the person to me and within my head. I had felt attacked by him at a couple of points during that time, so to me, his age wasn't a factor when I went to post those copypastas. I hated him and he was a bad person. So any action of annoyance or bullying was justified in my mind at the time. It was an extremely childish mindset and thing to do. And there's no conceivable way to me that can defend that action, nor should they be.
Looking into the FCK logs and from hearing from people, it was made clear that you would ask people for pictures of your thighs, along with sending your own in the server. This also included you asking the minors for thigh pics. Why?
I'm not sure if you are asking why asking for the thigh pictures was a server thing, or why I asked a minor for theirs, but I can answer them both. At the time I asked for the pictures, it was already a common thing for multiple of the members to post pictures of, or being demanded into sending their thighs. From my point of view, it was akin to something like a hazing ritual that was done to more newer members of the server. If I recall correctly, at the time I was the one asking for thigh pics. The one I asked hadn't declared their age until I believe 4 days later. Regardless, the only reasoning I can give is that it was the culture of the server, and there really isn't an excuse as to my actions. I fucked up acting lascivious in a public server. I can't go back and retroactively change what I did. All I can express is that I felt it was nothing more than hazing. And there was no intention of committing any lascivious acts with anyone.
Thank you. I will move on. It has been stated by multiple of the victims' testimonies that inside the FCK, you partook in sexual role-playing inside of voice calls. What, if any, reason did you have behind that?
Clarify. I've not seen any allegation of that nature, nor do I believe them true.
It is testimony, as I had said, from multiple of the victims of the FCK that during voice calls in the server, you would, along with other adults, partake in sexual roleplays, including times where the minors were present, this was stated to have not been a once-off experience.
I have not engaged in any sort of roleplay of any sort of sexual nature that is above one-off dick jokes. I believe either those testimonies are taking things wildly out of context, believing to be of a sexual nature when it was humor, or wildly over-exaggerated.
Thank you. But for now, my last question would be, would you class the behaviours of the adults involved in the FCK and the environment that they had fostered, including your own involvement, as grooming?
I cannot label it as such, because that implies that there was an intent, of which Toasty more than definitely had. I can only speculate intent of others, but I cannot speak for every individual in that server, only my own actions and my contribution to the environment. I had no intent on grooming, nor sought any sort of sexual relations with anyone in the server, of which were not appropriate given the presence of underage members in the server.
And that was the interview. Resources on the entire FCK situation will be linked down below for more information on who Miss CC was. My own personal thoughts? I think she's full of shit, and her excuses that she gives in this interview are utter falsities, given the multiple testimonies of the victims in FCK, and also the server logs that have been investigated thoroughly by Akumu, and I'll be linking their content down below. This is Vinien, and I'm going to bed.